Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It just goes to show you how special this guy is, and I can't figure out why he doesn't cut through like the Tiger Woods of the world in that kind of dominant fashion in years past.
He stepped up to the tee box on the 14th hole, and he was 60-1 to win that golf tournament. You know, he was trailing by 6 shots, and he comes out on top.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that busted them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. Baseball takes center stage this evening. We got the New York Yankees and the Seattle Mariners in action. We spent a lot of time over the last 2 years talking about the San Francisco Giants and their success in their City Connect jerseys, although their track record, when it's all said and done, they're retiring the creamsicle style City Connect jerseys in the Bay Area after this year. And I think they're done for the year. 29-16. All right. So it's a pretty good record, very good record. We caught on to that the Giants and their City Connect jerseys. But how about Seattle? 15-1 this year. They're 15-1 wearing the jerseys that they're wearing tonight. Now they're losing the game 2-0 early, but they have the bases loaded right now. So they got the bases juiced here at the bottom of the first inning, and they're pretty fired up in Seattle. It's been a roller coaster season for the Mariners. They were up big in the division. They blew it. It looked like the season was done. They fired the manager. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and trust me, like Mariner fans gave up. They're like, this season can't be over soon enough. This team sucks. They can't hit. And now here they are, 2.5 coming into tonight, 2.5 back of a wild card spot. This is a big baseball game tonight, and you got to do better than that. They just popped out. They just popped out with 1 out with the bases loaded. Speaking of not being able to cash in, yet as I stated, so Seattle, these are badass jerseys. They're sort of the old school look. They got the black pants and the blue jersey, the pitchfork. It's the old school M pitchfork, and it's cool. Here comes Justin Turner right now up to plate for the Mariners, but they're 15-1. All right, and They were supposed to just wear them on Friday nights, but they caught on that they were winning all the time. People like the jersey. The players know the record, so they're just wearing them now. So the Mariners said, you know what, screw it. We're going to wear them. Forget about Friday nights. We're going to put them on. Why not? Right? I don't really get that either. I'm telling you what, too, there's a lot of, you get into the Super Bowl, team with the white jersey and this and that. Yeah, whatever. Right, but I don't know. There's something to this City Connect stuff. There is. I mean, 15-1. Is this a coincidence? We talked about the San Francisco Giants. Giants were like 14-2 at one point, too. It sort of evened out in the long run just because they're not very good. Still 29-16, it ended up. I know the Montreal Canadiens, too. The Canadiens, whatever, they've got a bunch of jerseys. You got to be kidding me. Did the Seattle Mariners really just try to steal home with 2 out and the bases loaded? I look away for a second. I look up. I'm like, is he trying to steal home plate here? And, yeah, let's see. He did. He thought that the pitcher, wow. Man, bases are loaded. That's a crazy play. I've said it a million times, guys. The beautiful thing about the sport of baseball is every play, there are literally tens of thousands of potential outcomes. You can't say that about any other sport, right? In hockey, whatever, they dump the puck in, they shoot the puck, it could hit the post, it could be it could be a blocked shot. Yeah, there's, a couple of dozen different things that can happen, right? Football, whatever. You drop back, like Bo Schembechler, the late, great Bo Schembechler, former Michigan guru coach, said, there's 3 things that can happen when you have the football, and 2 of them are bad, so let's run the football. See, that's something that Nick Sirianni should be taught. Like, Bo Schembechler did not like throwing the football, the legendary Michigan Wolverine coach. He was old school. He was like, no, let's run the ball, chew the clock up. And he was asked once, Bo, why do you hate throwing the football so much? And he said, because if you throw the football, 3 things can happen. It could be incomplete, it could be an interception, or it could be a completion. And he goes, 2 of the 3 things that can happen are bad. So I would rather just run the ball. Coach Sirianni, there it is. Like all the talk that we've heard and all the armchair quarterbacking and game day decision making criticisms, I think I just said it best right there. I think that's the best take of the day. Bo Schembechler said it best. You throw the football, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. And I think Nick Sirianni, it cost a football game last night. There's so much talk about Saquon Barkley dropping the football. I brought it up last night. It's not like Saquon Barkley's known for having great hands, okay? He's dropped a lot of balls over the years, sort of those standard catches. So, number one, it was a dumb play, but it was a stupid play. They should have ran the ball. It is what it is. But Juden of the Falcons jumped offside, actually, on the play, except nobody on the Philadelphia Eagles reacted, and he was able to get back. I talked about the Eagles not having Jason Kelsey coming into the year and how I thought, well, I like the Packers in week 1, right? But I said, I think not having Kelsey is going to catch up to them, and there's got to be a curve here. He was the leader of that offensive line, the heart and soul, basically. And if one of the offensive linemen would have moved and would have reacted to Juden jumping offside, the refs would have called the penalty. But if a player can jump offside, you've got to pretend that you're starting now. Right? You know what I mean? Nobody moved. Nobody touched him. Nobody moved. And he was able to get back on side after. Smart offensive line would have just said, oh, God, we got a free play, and the game would have been over. Right? So there's a lot of things. It's never just sort of like one play. Sort of like Bryce Young with the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, does Bryce Young suck? Yes, he sucks. He's too small. He doesn't have any talent to work around him. But, the Carolina Panthers defense is terrible. Right? It's a team effort. It's not like, oh, God, if the Carolina Panthers only had a quarterback, they'd be good. Look at all the ridiculously stupid moves that the Carolina Panthers have made. They had Christian McCaffrey. You know what I mean? But, it's like, oh, we need players. You had Christian McCaffrey. All right? You know what I mean? Like, you've had good players. Think of the quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield's lighting it up right now at Tampa. You had Baker Mayfield. Sam Darnold's on Minnesota looking good right now. You had Sam Darnold. Right? You had DJ Moore. Think about that. They decided that this man, they didn't want to pay this and that. And every time these super rich, hedge fund guys get involved in this stuff, people originally think it's going to be great. Right? Oh, Tepper's super rich. It's going to be great. It's been a disaster. Right? Cohen with the Mets. Oh, Uncle Steve. Yeah, how's that going? Right? Oh, the Mets this, Mets that. Oh, we're going to be unstoppable with Cohen's money. The Mets are the Mets, right? Nothing has really essentially changed. Ohtani hits his 48 tonight. So he's at 48 right now. It's getting real for him to become the first player ever in Major League Baseball. Well, he's already like the first ever, like the numbers he's putting up. But the 50-50 is pretty symbolic. Would be pretty freaking symbolic. But hey, it's all about championships, right? Forget about the stats. So the Yankees are up 2-0 on the Mariners tonight. We've got WNBA basketball going on. The Aces and the Storm. There's been a lot of talk in the Seattle area about the Supersonics coming back, but Silver said, slow down. We're not quite ready for expansion just yet, but Seattle, no doubt, will be up. We'll get you caught up to date with the baseball standings. We got a wild one going on in Texas. Not that it matters with the standings, but the Blue Jays were down big. They've come back to tie the game. The Rockies are up on the D-backs. The Phillies keep rolling. The Phillies beating the Brew Crew right now, 4-1 late in this baseball game. We'll get you caught up to date with all the NFL news, including the fact that Justin Fields has been named the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson has been unable to play. Why make the change right now? They're winning games. Although, let's not kid ourselves. It's not like Fields is lighting it up. He's managing the game, and they're finding ways to win football games. Big-time game against the Chargers this week, right? So one of those teams is going to be 3-0. You know, it's like the great Bill Parcells said. You are what your record says you are. It's almost like, yeah, well, the Saints are 2-0, but how good are they? Well, they're 2-0. Good. That's what, you know what I mean? There's 9 undefeated teams left already only in the National Football League. Let's do this thing. Bring it.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was exciting! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama. And you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Bears are going to the Super Bowl, Eberflus Coach of the Year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be a success, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play is there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do this thing. The Twisted Tuesday continues. I am Gabriel Morency, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. The game that takes center stage this evening for us right now, the Yankees and the Mariners. Big-time game for both teams, especially the Seattle Mariners battling for a wild card spot. 15-1 in these alternate City Connect jerseys this year. And just an incredible run. And oftentimes we hear this about teams, and you're like, wow, this team has this great record in the City Connect. but they don't wear them all the time. Different sports are different, though, right? So Major League Baseball, you can wear whatever you want, right? It's up to you. Like, obviously, there's limits to this. It's got to be color coordinated with the other team, et cetera. You both can't be wearing white, but you can wear, you can say, you know what, we're going to wear the City Connects again. We're going to wear this. A lot of other sports, like I didn't realize this, like the Montreal Canadiens, as I was saying, one of the break, the Canadians have one of their alternate jerseys. It's pretty cool. It's like an Expos tribute. So it's supposed to be an Expos tribute. It's like the Expos colors, and it's a cool looking jersey. I don't know, I think they were 1-9 in them or so. 1-8, 1-9 in the jerseys. And the players knew and were aware. And they asked, they said, listen, we never win. We get killed all the time when we wear these jerseys. We don't want to wear these jerseys. And they were basically told, you don't have a choice. It's already decided by the league, similar to the NBA. I've often complained about some of the NBA jerseys, and they don't have a choice. Like, it's selected nights and all this. So I actually like the Mariners realizing, you know what, we're 15-1. The fans like the jerseys. Let's just wear them as long as we're hot right now. So we'll see if it comes into play tonight. They're trailing 2-0, but there's a lot of baseball left. It's the top of the second inning. The Yankees do have runners on first and second, and the very always dangerous Juan Soto is at the plate. Cam Stewart's in the house. We'll bring McKinnis in momentarily. How you doing tonight, Cam? Did you bet this Mariners and Yankees game?
Yeah, actually, I took the over 8.5 in this game. I think the Mariners are going to find ways to get runs, and the Yankees will too. I know when you look at the starting pitcher, you think under, but live it's 8.5. I'm on it. Very tempted to take Seattle plus 2.5 in this game as well. Haven't hit it yet, but I have over 8.5 and also on the Padres against the Astros tonight.
Seattle had the bases loaded with one out and didn't get anything in the top of the first, in the bottom of the first inning after the Yankees scored, but they were able to get to Heel, and it was a crazy play to end the inning. Basically, the bases are loaded. Heel turned his back to everybody, and he sort of casually, bent down for the rosin bag. And the play's alive though in baseball, right? It's not really timeouts. You know what I mean? There's a timeout in a box, but if the pitcher just sort of starts to flake around and walk around the hill, you can take off if you want to. But I tell you what, if you're going to take off, make sure you're going to be safe, and especially when the bases are loaded. Right. And especially when there's two freaking out, like that's a bad way to end that first inning. If you're the Seattle Mariners, the mound isn't far enough, like basically to be safe. Like all he'll have to do is just turn around and throw it to home plate. And everyone's yelling at him to turn around. Let's bring in Andrew McKinnis right now. Andrew, good to see you. I don't know if you got any late night baseball action riding on these games tonight.
Great to see the both of you guys. You know what? I just jumped in on a pretty ugly game. I just took the White Sox live money line, and I took the over in that game as well. So it doesn't really feel like I come on here and give out picks in the games of the night in the MLB by any means, guys. But we're hoping the White Sox can get the job done.
4 in a row, baby. Let's go White Sox.
Here we go.
Let's make it 4. That's classic.
Is that the same as the Dodgers winning like 15 in a row, Cam? Is that the same
White
as
Sox
the Dodgers
win 4?
winning like 10 games?
I consider it more of a success because they're losers. The Dodgers have pedigree. Yes.
The White Sox are literally one of the worst teams in the history of baseball. Houston and San Diego is an interesting game where we're scoreless. End of 2 right now. San Diego are minus 125. Houston are minus 105. The Blue Jays were down 7-3. They came back to tie the baseball game with the Texas Rangers. The Blue Jays are currently plus 120. The total is 17.5. We're only in the 6th inning of this baseball game, actually. So there's a lot of baseball left there. The Rangers are currently minus 150. Upset special tonight. The Rockies are up on the D-backs 3-1 right now. They're in the middle of the 6th inning. The Rockies are minus 500. So I think you could argue that there's value on the D-backs. And in fact, the D-backs are plus 2.5 runs, minus 165 right now. And they're down 2 runs. So even if they stay within the status quo here, you win this bet. I think the D-backs at plus 2.5 are worth a look at minus 155. I'm going to get this play in. And Seattle are also getting plus 2.5 right now. So,
Gabe, what about the live team total there for Arizona? Would you be interested in that at all if you like them live plus the runs, or just stick with that number? Because, I mean, they're a team that scores. When they do well, they score, but they could give up runs as well, right? Team total, you
that's
bet
a
on
good
one
point.
team.
No, but I just like the fact that, let's say the game stays the way that it is, I'll still win the bet. It's almost like it's 0-0 right now. I'm getting a half a run. You know, I'm being spotted half a run here. Let me get this in. Too much talking. I got to do some clicking here.
What's talking? Kids get trying to bet.
Even if it's a talk show, I'm going to miss it.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I missed it already. It went to 1.5. Like I said, like they're not dumb. Like it moved already.
It's like what Clam Chowder says to Babano. Hey, blabbermouth. What do you call him again? What do you call Babano? What was his again, Gabe? What do you say? Chatterbox. That's right. Babano,
Chatterbox.
You chatterbox. Anyway, I'm Arizona could come back in that game, but I'm with you, McInnes. I'm going to ride that White Sox with you. Let's go, buddy. Let's make it 4. Real toilet bowl special right there. The White Sox. Let's do it.
White Sox and Angels.
I mean,
real baseball classic.
Bad when.
Yeah, it's bad.
You know a team's bad when you're getting this price right now and they're playing Canning and the Angels. I mean, that's how you know a team is bad when that's the number you're getting.
Yankees 4-0 now. You put the brakes on the Mariners here. Stop.
Yeah, there goes the there goes the 2.5. I didn't take them plus 2.5. I was already on Seattle to win this game, so I'm not going to chase this. I didn't mind when it was 2-0, but that was how big it was when they. See, he who hesitates is lost. They freezed it. Now plus 2.5 is minus 220.
Yep.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama. And you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be a success, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play is there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, the Yankees are getting to woo early in this baseball game. 4-0 right now. Middle of the second inning. We're going to the bottom of the second inning. 4-0 for the Bronx Bombers. I am Gabriel Morency. 1-0 for the Halos early. End of the third over the Chicago White Sox. Houston and San Diego still scoreless. The total all the way down to 5.5, even though we're only in the middle of the third inning right now. Tigers are up 3-1 on the Royals. We're in extra innings in Kansas City. A's up on the Cubs, 7-7 Blue Jays and Rangers, and 3-1 for the Colorado Rockies. And I wanted the plus 2.5, but it went to minus 220. And now it's back to minus 115 right now because the Rockies have runners on first and second. Baseball live betting, very, very fluid market. All right, let's get into some football right now. We'll bypass the Thursday nighter for now. McInnes is a Green Bay Packer fan. McInnes, I was on the Packers against the Indianapolis Colts. I didn't really understand fully why people thought that the Colts should be 3-point favorites on the road when they have a quarterback that is extremely raw. Like, this guy's only played like 5-6 games now in the National Football League. And, they're an okay team, but, that was a bizarre line. It didn't really matter. And I believe you said last week, you don't really care who the quarterback is going to be. I was hoping it was going to be Jordan Love, but I did take the Packers. I don't really get this, though. It seemed like Jordan Love was so close to playing, yet he's clearly not expected to play right now if the Packers are getting 3 points once again. But here we go again. And it's a perfect spot. It's the Malik Willis revenge return here. So you get added, and you guys know, man, in sports, especially after he won the game for them last week, too. And, yeah, everything was checked down, and everything was very, very well managed, but that's because LaFleur's a good coach. He didn't ask him to do things he couldn't do, and it worked out. But now the guys on the team are like, man, Malik, gets maligned. He won the game for us. He's going back to the team that really threw him under the bus for Will Levis. And I'll tell you what, McInnes, Will Levis is a bigger train wreck than Malik Willis is, okay? So, and now you're getting points. What are your thoughts on this game? I'm thinking long and hard about the Green Bay Packers again.
Well, taking away my fandom for a second, my thoughts as a sports bettor are immediately, are you seriously going to give me another great teaser spot like this again? I mean, I had the Packers last week, guys, but I'm not going to lie. I took the teaser route as well. Broncos, Packers for me. I actually got lucky with the Broncos, but the Packers leg was pretty easy there. If you're going to give me the plus 2.5 to be able to tease that up to 8.5, this is pretty nice. Yeah, definitely. 2 late field goals, Gabe, with the Broncos. You got to love that. But here's the thing. The three of us talked about this last week. And I was in the middle of saying, I hope LaFleur doesn't try to do anything too much. And you guys both jumped in and said, Andrew, don't worry about it. And so I think that was great. You look at his completion percentage, it was solid. He didn't throw that many balls. Josh Jacobs was there. He had a big game. It was kind of, you guys, your prototypical first game for a backup quarterback without the QB1. So a lot of times the spot that usually is actually the letdown is not even game 1 without your number 1 guy. It's usually game 2. Actually, what I'm going to go ahead and do here, guys, is take the full game over. I'll probably have a teaser option, teasing the Packers up, but I actually think we'll see some points here. There's minimal pass rush for this Titans team. They've given up 24 points in both their games so far they've played in week 1 and week 2. And the same thing I say to you guys every week, the Packers have options. They don't have a human highlight reel on their team, but they got a lot of options to throw the ball to. They can march the field. The only thing I worry about, Gabe, is what you just said. If there's so many completions and they're taking 6 minutes to march the field, tick, 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 the time, goes away and it's hard to go over the total. Would not shock me here. I think this total's too low. Give me the over in this one.
The over, says McInnes. All right, speaking of the over, the Seattle Mariners just hit a solo home run. So now it's 4-1. The runs are coming. We're only in the bottom of the second inning right now. Polanco with the shot. So we got a 4-1 baseball game. Mariners get a run back. I think this Green Bay team, they're very, very well coached. LaFleur knows his personnel. And similar to Michigan, actually, they're going run heavy. They said, all right, we're not going to make Malik Willis throw the ball a million times. Let's run the football and dedicate ourselves to running the ball, mix in a couple of rollouts and play action, simple passes that they know, okay, he can do this, right? It's like, all right, can he throw it 5 yards? Yes. Can he go 10 yards? Yes. Okay. Can he go 15? No. Can he go 9? Like, LaFleur seems to really understand this. We'll hit this on the other side of more.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that one grip was only going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama. And you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be successful, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play's there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's do this thing. This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Talking about these baseball games, a quick check right now of the wild card picture and the Major League Baseball standings. The New York Yankees started to pull away a little bit. The Baltimore Orioles have been kind of an average team for a couple of months, and it's catching up to them. 3-7 in their last 10 games. So the Baltimore Orioles right now, they do have a cushion in the wild card. They got a 4-game cushion. Kansas City right now, as of right now, +2 in the wild card. The Minnesota Twins are hanging on to the last wild card spot, but this Detroit Tiger baseball team not going away, and they're in action right now. They could cut this to 1 game, actually. And how big of a game is this for the Seattle Mariners, who were down already early 4-1? They're only 2.5 back. Boston starting to fade as far as the National League is concerned. San Diego in action with Houston right now. They're up 3 games in the wild card. Arizona are up a half a game on the New York Mets. And the Atlanta Braves are 2 games back right now. The Cubs are 6. Let's forget about them. They're running out of field right now, as these teams basically have about 10, 11 games left on the season. All right, so we're going into week 3 of the National Football League. McKinnis with us. McKinnis says he's taking the over in the Green Bay Packer Tennessee Titan game. Somewhat of a, I would think, a contrarian look. It is a very low number right now for this game at 30. You don't get totals this light usually at 36.5 in the NFL. Cam, what's your pick for this game? The Titans are 3-point favorites. Total 36.5.
This will not be a popular pick. I like the Titans this week. I think they're actually going to figure it out. They're at home. They played pretty good in the first 2 games, other than Will Levis with costly mistakes. The thing is, I worry about him. That's why it's not going to be a big play, doing something stupid. But I just think they're good at home, and now they know what Malik Willis is all about. It's an interesting line. Looks like a lot of people are going to be taking Green Bay. You're getting 3 points. It seems like, wow, I'll just take Green Bay. They're a better team. But Tennessee's actually been a lot better than the record indicates. I like the Tennessee Titans in this spot to win by like 4 or 7, right around the number I think they cover.
McKinnis, what do you like this week in the NFL? I asked you about your Packers because you're a Packer fan. It is still early in the week, but the lines are starting to move right now already. What do you think about this week's card? Who do you like this week?
You know, Gabe, oftentimes I talk about certain teams I like in certain point spread ranges. You take a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the point spread range they're going from last week against the Detroit Lions to where they are this week, it's pretty much an absolute flip. You know, they were the 6.5, 7-point dogs, and now they're laying that number themselves. Look, I get it. These rookies, the quarterbacks, it's not been great for them. I like Bo Nix, though. I think he'll turn it around. And to me, this is a good spot for him to at least cover the point spread for me. They've got weapons. They got a ground game. They got a receiving game. And I feel like their defense can cause some pressure and make things a little bit more difficult for Baker. So getting the points like that one, the number already moved once. So if you want that bet, guys, jump in on it. Take the Broncos plus the 6.5. Shop around for a 7 if you can find it. Where was another one that I liked here? Oh, yeah. I think that Jacksonville gets the job done against your Bills, Gabe. I think at least they cover the point spread. This is one of those games to me where it's kind of, I know it's only 2 weeks in, but when everybody thinks that this team doesn't have it figured out, when you get your quarterback saying to the media, we suck right now, I'm looking at this Bills team and I don't like them in this point spread range. I say it every time. Every time they're 5.5, 6.5, something like that. I like them closer to pick, or when they're short dogs like they were last week. They're coming in after a strong win. Jacksonville's motivated. I think they're going to be a lot simpler. I wouldn't talk anybody off the under in this game because until Jacksonville can figure things out, the big point of emphasis for them is going to be time of possession, keeping the ball in their offense's hands, not making their defense have to be out there for 70% of the game. So I do think that Jacksonville covers the point spread here, and I think it's a pretty good game for them, but I also lean towards the under in that game.
Trevor Lawrence, you could argue that he's gotten a bigger free pass than any quarterback from the media in recent memory, actually. If you actually look at Trevor Lawrence's career, it's actually been pretty mediocre, man. Let's just call it out for what it is. For a player that was heralded nearly in the same light as like an Andrew Luck or as a John Elway. Like Lawrence, like coming in, guys, they were like, they hyped this guy. Forget about like the Caleb Williams hype. Not everybody loved Caleb Williams. Everybody loved Trevor Lawrence because Lawrence, he looked the part. He won in high school. He won in college. He was a great college quarterback. He had the size. But at some point, you have to like sort of start to look at the reality of this. But he got paid. He just signed this massive contract right now. I find the Jags, I was very disappointed in their performance. First, they blew the game in week 1. They actually played pretty well. They blew their offense wasn't great, but they should have won the game against the Dolphins. They blow the double-digit lead. And then extremely flat against the Cleveland Browns last week. I do somewhat agree with the Bills in the sense that if you look at the Bills in week 1, they were favored by 6.5 against Arizona. They won by 6, right? Like the odds makers, and you look like, it's not easy to win by 6, 7 points in this league. We saw that last night. So it wouldn't shock me if the Bills won by 4, won by 3. I'd be surprised if the Jags won this game outright because I think the Bills are actually that good right now, Cam. And I think the Bills, I talked about it against when they were playing the Dolphins. I'll tell you, McKinnis, the Bills have a different look to them this year. Like they've had so much failure, and it seems like, there's different ways you can go about this stuff, right? There's the teams that say, oh, don't worry about it. It only matters in the playoffs. That doesn't usually work out well. And then you have the teams, sort of like the Florida Panthers. It worked for the Panthers. The Panthers lose the Stanley Cup, and they're just on the freaking warpath the next year, right? Every game, we're going to win. We're going to get home ice. We're going to do this. You know what I mean? No let up. And it seems like the Bills, like they're really all business. So I don't think there's going to be a letdown. I think they're going to be all fired up. And it could get ugly for the Jags too, Cam. Not ugly, but 28-17 wouldn't surprise me because, as you said, McKinnis, they can't really move the ball, and Buffalo can. So Jacksonville better be able to put up points. Otherwise, Buffalo's going to blow them out.
Good call, Morency. And we've talked about the Bills. There is a different look to them, even with McDermott. These guys look very, very focused. They've been executing. The back door is open in this game, but I agree with both of you guys. Like, I think the Bills will win this game. Like, if Jacksonville beats Buffalo outright, I'd be very, very shocked. I think Buffalo wins is a very good number by the books because I think it's going to fall right to the number. Bills by 4 to 6, right around that. I think they win the game. The back door could be open, but I like the Buffalo Bills in this spot, Morency. You're right. And I like the fact that they're spreading it around. Shakir's been good. Everybody's been good. And they're all business this year. I wish good things for Buffalo.
For what it's
Even-
worth,
and
guys,
even
last
though-
two scores, Bills have lost 25-20 and 6-9. So opposite scores there, but I'm not usually a recent history guy, but 25-20 and 9-6. So
Yeah, they beat him in
very weird
Jacksonville,
scores.
right? They beat him in Jacksonville, and the other Josh Allen always plays well against Josh Allen for some weird reason.
Well, no. The
They beat him
9-6
in
game
Europe,
was
right?
the 9-6 game was a playoff game like 5 years ago. So, not even longer. It was Tyrod Taylor in the playoff game. McDermott got the Bills into the playoffs early, so I wouldn't put too much stock in that game, McKinnis, considering Josh Allen wasn't on the team yet. and the other one, you're right, they lost. They played in London. The Bills did lose to the Jags in London before, which is an advantage for the Jags because the Jags were already there for 2 weeks and the Bills got there for that second game. It's a different thing if you both get there at the same time. But the Jags are already there, played a game, and then the Bills go there the next week. Like the Jags played 2 weeks in a row in London. The Bills were at a big disadvantage. But listen, I thought the Jags were going to be good this year. So I think they're dangerous. Their defense is really good. Just Trevor Lawrence is inconsistent, and their offense is flat. So at some point, I mean, being good on paper doesn't really matter if they're not. They don't move the football enough, and their offense has been pretty bad.
Yeah, 2021, Gabe. 9-6 in 2021.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama. And you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be a success, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play is there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. Gabriel Morency. We're kicking it. Andrew McKinnis in the house with us. Wager Talk, Cam Stewart. McKinnis talking about liking the Denver Broncos, and you just said earlier that you were on the Broncos against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know what your fascination with this Bronco team is. Got to ask you.
I'll tell you, Gabe, watching Bo Nix throw that pick in the end zone, too, they ran like a trick play. I'm like, oh, here comes Denver. And Nix is picked off in the end zone. I'm like, classic Denver. Like, unbelievable.
I didn't. Listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 52-20 to the under right now, their last 72 road games. it's an incredible, just sort of automatic right now. It'll get busted open at some point. But so I mean, the two games at Atlanta, Pittsburgh, I rode the under, and I was on the Atlanta Falcons. I lost. I learned my lesson. But last week I took the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though I knew the Steelers were horrible. The Steelers were like 4-20 on the second game of a back-to-back road game if they won and covered in the week before. It was actually a horrible spot for the McInnes. Yet I was thinking, like Cam said, like just how bad is Bo Nix? Like he really has a hard time throwing the football down the field. He's not the only one. Like all these rookie quarterbacks, none of them have thrown a freaking touchdown pass.
Yep.
Like it's
Good
not
call.
easy, right? Like, you know what I mean? If they're not lighting it up here at all, right? So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out this week. But to me, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the real deal. But one thing I do agree with McInnes, it's all about situational spots. And Tampa, great start to the season. They're coming off a big revenge win on the road against a team to beat them in the playoffs. It could be a little bit, not a letdown, but just one of those, Denver are terrible. Don't worry about it. We'll beat these guys. You're at home.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's true, Cam. Like
I agree with you 100%.
There's a great video of Karl Anthony Towns was up playing video games one night. And
I saw that, Gabe. He's on Twitch.
Yeah. And somebody said to him, it was like 4 a.m. or something. Somebody said, dude, you got a game tonight, huh? And what he goes, yeah, don't worry about it. It's against the Hawks.
That's amazing.
He's dead serious.
He's up all night. Yeah, the way he said, he goes, man, we're playing Atlanta, bro.
Yeah.
He keeps playing video games.
Unbelievable. That's the best.
And like everybody cracked up laughing. You saw that, McInnes? Everyone was like, damn, man. This guy. The way, deadpan, the way he said, he goes, no, we're playing the Hawks or whoever it was. Might have been the Nets, whoever it was. It was a shade of the team. He goes, no, don't worry, man. That doesn't matter. But, it's sort of
Sometimes
human nature. But,
sometimes I feel bad for them. I'm like, oh, man, these guys can't live a real life. But then sometimes I'm like, how stupid can you be to not realize that that's going to get clipped in like 10 seconds and be all over social media?
Yeah.
It's like if you're choosing to stream live on these platforms, anything you say,
right.
that's the thing. And Gabe, I'll make something real clear. I don't love the Broncos, and last week I didn't take them just to cover the point spread. I like them in teaser-type ranges. Last week I teased to get a touchdown. This week I pretty much am getting the touchdown. So
you're a Bronco apologist,
the Bucs guys, 13-point differential for them from last week to this week. We're asking them not only to stay within 6, to win by 7. It's a big difference from last week.
You guys are right. That game just feels like Tampa Bay, Baker doing some Baker things, escaping, winning the game, not covering the spread type of game. That's what it kind of feels like.
But what did they do? What did they do to Washington in week 1 to a rookie quarterback?
They terrorized them.
They murdered them. They won that football game, right? So, but I get where you're going with this.
Secondary is brutal for Washington, man. Like me, you, and Cam could score, get put up 30 yards receiving against that Washington secondary. I mean, people are talking about Panthers right now with how bad.
Jaden Daniels is better than Bo Nix is. Jaden Daniels had some serious problems against that Bucs defense. The Detroit Lions, the Lions' vaunted offense just went 1 for 7 in the red zone against the Tampa Bay defense. Tampa Bay defense is good. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I get it. I don't want to spend too much time in this game. Like, the 6.5 and being in that spot. I love the Bucs last week as an underdog. I'm not loving them as a favorite, but I think Denver could be bad. Like, it might be one of these instances where Bo Nix really struggles, but we'll see.
Good.
All right, so CFL football, McInnes. Can't forget about the CFL. It's getting real right now. The playoffs are coming up around the corner. So you got the Ticats and the Argonauts. The Argos are 6.5-point favorites back at home on Friday night. The total's 53.5. You got the Rough Riders taking on the Stampeders. The Stampeders season's all but slipped away. The Rough Riders are 2.5-point road favorites in that game. The total's 51. Montreal Alouettes, 2.5-point road favorites in Ottawa. Total 49.5. That's a fun game on Saturday afternoon. And then Winnipeg and Edmonton on Saturday night, another critical big-time game, especially for the Edmonton Elks. They're getting 2 points at home. Total's 49.5. What catches your eye in the CFL, McInnes?
Gabe, I promise you, I will never forget about the CFL. You can guarantee that. I always have something for you in the CFL. Last week, the dogs were barking. I loved the dogs last week, but they went 3-0. One team, well, they cashed because the game tied 19-19. This week, I like a lot of favorites here, honestly. We're going to start things off with the Argos. You know, they're down 0-2 in the season series against the Hamilton Tiger Cats that rank last in the league, giving up 32.5 points per game on the season. Look, Hamilton, they scored, 37 last week? Doesn't bother me one bit. Toronto had a great game. That builds confidence. They're back at home. You know, rivalries do mean something in the CFL, and I think this number means something to me here, laying a touchdown. I think Toronto's focus, I think Toronto's defense shows up, and barring any interceptions or weird fumbles, I think Toronto gets the job done. I'm willing to lay the points, especially now they're down 0-2 in that season series. Saskatchewan and Calgary here, guys. I'm going to go over 51. I'm going to forget about the side in this one here. Calgary, great cover for them last week. I love getting them in that point spread range. Not sure how I feel about this one. The Rough Riders have been kind of overhyped all year, but now it's kind of a low number. Kind of feels like a buy low spot for this Rough Riders team, but give me the over. Both these teams give up a ton of points in the second half, so we're going to look for points in that game.
Yeah, Rough Riders in a 4-game losing streak right now. Yet the Calgary Stampeders, their season's like all but done. 4-8-1 on the season. The playoffs starting to slip away. I actually think that number's a little light. All right, we'll wrap up with a little key talk on the other side.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was exciting! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama, and you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be a success, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play is there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. The picks, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. Andrew McInnes kicking with us. All right, so countdown to puck drop is on. The National Hockey League regular season starts October the 4th. So it's around the corner. It's coming up. And in fact, we've already got numbers up right now for these games. We're starting in the Czech Republic. And the New Jersey Devils are minus 155 favorites over the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres are plus 130. The total is 6.5 in the game. Last year, the Devils were heavily hyped. They disappointed everybody. They had a ton of injuries, and they fired a coach. Now they get the Maple Leafs coach Keefe comes in here now. They shored up they bring in Markstrom between the pipes. Dougie Hamilton will be back. There were a couple other signings on the blue line. So I was surprised to see the Devils are actually favored to win the division, which I'm like, wow, that's pretty ambitious. Like, you know what I mean? They get a lot of respect. We'll put it that way. You get a lot of respect when you consider some good teams in their division. But McInnes, I was looking at some of the NHL futures, starting to just kick the tires on this a bit as it's coming up. And I was looking at goal scoring props for players, total goal scored on the season. And you are a big Montreal Canadian fan. And a lot of people wondered about the Slafkovsky pick when it was made. He's turning into a hell of a player. And last year, that line with him, Cole Caulfield, and Suzuki, they were a pretty dominant offensive line, right? It was one of the best lines in the National Hockey League. In the second half of the season, from literally from game 40 on, they scored a combined 53 goals between the three of them. And Slafkovsky had 16 goals in the second half of the year last year. So he finished with 20 goals when it was all said and done, McInnes. And I see his prop for this year is 24.5. And I think he's ready to take that next step right now into sort of stardom. Like, this guy's ready to break loose. Barring injury, I don't see any reason why he doesn't, I'm looking at 30 for him. 27, 28, 30. You know what I mean? I think 30 is sort of the benchmark, to be honest. Let's call it easy. He's the number one pick in the draft. So I think 30 is sort of a benchmark here with this team. But 24.5 is his goal prop to the over. I don't like a lot of things about the Canadians now, but I'm buying into him over 24.5. And I'd like to go over 76.5 with them. But the fact is, they've only gone over 76.5 points once in the last 7 years. One of the years was a COVID year, but still, facts are facts. So let's say out of the last 6 years, they've only done it once. What do you think about the goal prop to over 24.5? And what about the Canadians' 76.5 point total?
Gabe, you know what? It's funny you say that. I did not know you were going there whatsoever. You know what? I don't have a comment really on the goal prop. I like the points prop at 57.5. So that's one that I personally did bet already, over 57.5 points. I get what you mean. That second half of the season, the goal scoring ability he had, and this is what people don't realize about him and the Canadians. They had him playing with Yoel Armia. They had him playing with Brendan Gallagher. They had him playing with Josh Anderson that couldn't score on a soccer net. Okay, you move him up and play with Suzuki and Caulfield, and all of a sudden he actually can score goals. But I think that he's also a sneaky playmaker. I'm telling you, Gabe, that guy does not have an ego to him whatsoever. If this team does well, if he gets a bunch of assists and points and, doesn't get a lot of goals, he's not bothered. Out there on the power play, he loves moving the puck. So to me, I looked at the same thing you looked at. I like the over 57.5 a little bit better for the points, especially with Laine being back healthy, especially with Doc being back now. I think it adds more offense to the team, and there's more shooters around him to score the goals. Another one that I like is Jonathan Drouin, over 56.5 points, guys. He looked real good with his old pal Nate McKinnon last season, and overall that team did get better, which takes a little bit off them as well. Similar kind of what I thought about the whole thing with Slafkovsky. And here's one that you'll like out there in your neck of the woods. I like Jake DeBrusk and his prop over on points. To me, I think he's going to settle in quite a bit. And for him, the fact
great
is
acquisition
his numbers
by the Canucks, McInnes? Like, he's a perfect player for them. Like, it's very underrated move.
Big time, yeah. So, and I just think that, his number, I think it's in the late 40s, maybe early 50s. I just had it on my screen, but I lost it. I just think that they added some depth, and he brings kind of that sneaky scoring, the dirty goals. Not saying he can't score a nice goal, but he brings something that they definitely need. And yes, Gabe, give me the over on the Canadians' point total. Good year coming.
Ooh. Over 76.5 points.
it's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that one. It was only going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama. And you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be a success, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play is there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, the Yankees are really taking it to the Mariners. The Little City Connect 15-1 jersey will become 15-2 after tonight. 6-1 going to the bottom of the fourth inning right now. The Bronx Bombers are going deep, and they've gotten to Woo this evening. So got a 6-1 baseball game in the Pacific Northwest right now. We were just talking a little NHL hockey with Andrew McKinnis. And there's a lot of different options with the NHL, like a lot of sports. But when you look at the futures, I'm looking at a list here: to win outright, to win conference, to win a division, to reach the playoffs, President's Trophy, division of Stanley Cup winner. And here's the sportsbook's favorite that is cashed for like 34 years in a row: country of Stanley Cup winner. Just bet not Canada, and you'll win. USA, Cameron, minus. I've said this in the past, though. From a betting standpoint, you can't argue with the trend. You could say minus 350 is actually value when you consider it's 24 right now plus 7. So it's been 30 years, right? Essentially, it was 31 years now. 31 years. It was 1993, the last time a team from Canada won the Stanley Cup. I was in the building, actually. Montreal Canadiens beat the Los Angeles Kings in 5 games. You want to talk about a trend, it's 30-0. So when you consider you're getting minus 3, it's only minus 350. You're getting every team from the United States, essentially. And the thing with Canada is there's only a few teams from Canada that legitimately have a chance of winning the Cup. And so you got the Oilers. They could win the Cup. Maybe the Canucks, if things went their way, maybe the Canucks are in the mix. The Oilers give you your best chance. The Leafs, on paper, should be good, but of course the Leafs haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. So you want to talk about trends? We're talking about like 57 years the Leafs haven't won in. So there's a nice trend. Will the Leafs win the Cup? No, 57 years strong. But the USA at minus 350. It's not bad odds when you consider it's been 30 years.
You're right, Gabe. It should be like minus 600. I will say this, though. I think your Vancouver Canucks are a very good hockey team. It's a shame, like the Remember, they did this too with the third string goaltender. They played great in their games. They actually beat Edmonton too. They played Edmonton really tough. As for this year, Edmonton got close, and you know what? Kind of like the Florida Panthers. Let's talk role reversal. I think the Oilers do win the Stanley Cup this year, but that number, you said it. There's two teams probably from Canada that got a chance, and the Leafs, even if on paper they're great, they'll screw it up. So the Oilers and Canucks are probably the two best teams. I think the Oilers are going to do it this year, though, buddy. I think they got close with Florida. They took them to Game 7. They could have got swept in that series. They showed some guts. Edmonton, it's Stanley Cup or bust for these guys. I think Canada's finally going to get their cup, but you're right about the number. That's a great number for USA.
Edmonton, I agree. I think Edmonton are going to be really good again. They bring back Draisaitl. They tweak things a bit. They're right there in the mix. I do believe that they're going to be knocking on the door, but we all know anything can happen. I mean, look, the fact is they went 7 games with the Vancouver Canucks, and the Canucks were like depleted with injuries by the time they got to 7 games. So there's a lot of things going to happen. If I look at the Western Conference this year, I do believe Edmonton are the team to beat. They're that good. Let's just call it out for what it is. The Oilers are damn good. The Canucks, there's a little concern. We'll find out if the Canucks are the real deal, which I think they are, because I think Rick Tocchet's one of the best coaches in the league. But the Canucks had a great year last year. They caught people off guard. They're not going to catch teams like, off guard anymore. People now know, man, this Vancouver team is good, so team's going to be up for them. The Canucks injury problems have already hit them. You've got Demko's injured. Seeloffs is injured. The season hasn't started yet. The Canucks are really already like pounding the pavement and calling teams about, do you guys have a goalie? They lost a lot too. Zadorov is gone, Cam. Elias Lindholm, both Zadorov and Lindholm, both signed with the Boston Bruins, and the Canucks signed DeBrusk from the Bruins. So it was basically like the Bruins, but it's kind of a wash. Is DeBrusk better than Lindholm? You know what I mean? Probably not, to be honest.
He scored 30 goals, though, Gabe. He's a perfect mix for the Canucks because they have a flair. Like, you live there. You see the European-style player they have. DeBrusk is the opposite. He's a really gritty, dirty goal scorer guy that will get into bad places. That's what DeBrusk does. Like his old man who could fight. This guy's tough and he scores. I think he's a perfect fit for Vancouver, actually. I agree with McInnes. I think he's and he'll be a good dressing room guy, too. Like, he'll be good. I like DeBrusk a lot.
But no, I like him, but let's be real. They signed DeBrusk because they missed out on Gensel.
Yeah.
Right? And they missed out on Gensel, and they missed out on some other guys as well. They wanted to re-sign Lindholm, but Lindholm wanted so much money. So, and that was the thing. You got DeBrusk. He's from the area. There was a lot of, sort of connections. He was buddies with people on the team, so it made some sense. But if you add it all up, I guess I would say the Canucks roster is kind of equal to what they were last year. But now there's expectations, and now they got goaltending problems and injuries already. And they can't keep pulling these goalies out of a hat all the time that are going to be good. So, they've got some stuff to address, but they're a legitimate Stanley Cup contender. I would say Colorado is too. To me, those are the 3 sort of big contenders in the West, along with Dallas. You got Edmonton, Vancouver, Dallas. I think Vegas, Cam, is due for a reality check. They've had a nice little start to their franchise, 7, 8 years now, 9 years, whatever. You won a cup. You've been to some cups. There's been a lot of success. You've manipulated the salary cap better than anybody else. But eventually, you need young players. You know what I mean, Cam? Like the Vegas Golden Knights have a lot of vets on their team that enjoy that Vegas lifestyle and the golf and all this and the sun. Once they got that Stanley Cup ring, it catches up. Plus, they played a lot of hockey. I think the Vegas Golden Knights are sort of set for – they're going to need a rebuild around the corner here, this team.
I agree.
I'm not saying they lost, but they're not
they're
like a legitimate – they're not the top tier now, I don't think.
You know what? There was a wicked sleeper team that gave the Canucks fits and came back against them? Nashville. They picked up Marchessault from Vegas. No one's talking about – the Nashville Predators are a good hockey team. Very good hockey team, and they're getting no respect in the market. They get one of Vegas's best players. UC Saros is a good goalie, And Brunette's a decent coach. I'm telling you, if you want a real dark horse game, I think the Nashville Predators are a team that deserves respect. And Marchessault is going to be huge for those guys. What didn't they do last year? Score big goals. And he's the type of guy, he scores a lot of goals. So I like the Preds.
No, I like the Preds too, and you're leaving out their biggest signing in the offseason, which was Steven Stamkos.
Yep, Stamkos
So
too.
the Preds, the Predators aren't playing around. The Predators were the second best team. The best team in the NHL last year in the second half of the season were the Edmonton Oilers. The second best team in the NHL in the second half of the season last year were the Nashville Predators. The Predators were really, really good. And they had injuries against the Canucks. That was a serious, it was an intense series, but the Predators are a dangerous team. Like, they're definitely going to be in the mix. And Stamkos going to have a chip on his shoulder, but I think people do know about Nashville. If you look at all the preseason predictions and stuff, Nashville, people get it. Nashville have a ton of talent. Looking at their Nashville to make the playoff odds, they're minus 300 to make the playoffs, the Nashville Predators.
They'll make the playoffs.
And as far as Nashville regular season points is concerned, last year, I loved the Canucks, the regular season points. It was like stealing money. It was like 88.5 or 90 or something like that. The odds makers have caught on to it. The Canucks are 99.5 points right now. The Nashville Predators also 99.5 points.
That's a lot of points.
It's a lot. So as I said, they're not really sleeping on. You got to get to 100 points if you want to bet the over the Predators. But I think the Predators, once they get into the playoffs, will be a very dangerous team.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama. And you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be success, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play's there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do this thing. Countdown to the baseball playoffs are on. Some very interesting wild card races going on right now. Seattle aren't doing themselves any favors. They're getting pummeled by the Bronx Bombers. It's 6-1 Yankees. We're only in the top of the fifth inning. It was that critical, man. The Yankees scored 2 runs in the top of the first. The Mariners had the bases loaded with 1 out. right? In the bottom of the first inning, you put a couple of runs on the board, you take a lead, it changes the dynamic of the game. You don't get anything. You've been playing uphill the rest of the night since. You got a solo home run from Polanco, and that's it. So, and the Yankees are starting to pull away right now in the American League East. Let's bring in Loud Esmond right now. Talk some college football, NFL football. Loud in the house. Always good to see you, Loud. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Went out to a nice steakhouse with the family and then came home ready to do the show here late with you guys. So ready to go. I want to start by, over my shoulder, you probably can't see it in this shot, but I have a little Saints piece of memorabilia that I have because I am a Saints fan. And I just, can we get some love for one of the more maligned guys in the NFL unfairly, and that is Derek Carr. I mean, Derek Carr has been fantastic, and the Saints offense has been fantastic. And, you know, I did a radio show for years in Southern California on sports betting, and my co-host was a giant Raiders fan, Jeremy. And the problem with the Raiders fan is they can never see anything logically. They always see it emotionally, and that's the way most fans are. But I remember when they were talking about pushing Derek Carr out of town, and I'm like, so what is your backup plan? And it ended up being Jimmy Garoppolo, who couldn't barely play. And now Derek Carr is revitalizing his career with the Saints. And it just looks like a horrible, horrible move. And sure, they won a game last week against the Ravens, but don't you think the Raiders would rather have Derek Carr at quarterback than Gardner Minshew, Cam?
Yeah, I'm wrong, Loud, and I admit when we win bets and whatever, I thought the Saints would be one of the worst teams in the league. I'm an idiot. Like, I didn't see this coming at all. I didn't see them, the resurgence. Their offensive coordinator, Kubiak's done a great job. We're 2 weeks in. I got to be honest with you. I have under 7.5 wins. Like, I'm going to get smoked on that bet. Like, I didn't see this coming. So kudos to the Saints. Morency liked them more than me. I thought Carolina would be better. They're horrible. What am I going to say? Good for the Saints.
The Raiders, though, Loud, made a big mistake in giving all the power to Josh McDaniels.
Good call.
Right, who didn't draft quarterbacks. Like, the Raiders like quarterbacks in the draft. It was brought up. What about this guy? What about that guy? But Josh McDaniels was the king of the room suddenly. And he was like, no, I like this Aiden O'Connell guy. We can go. I don't like Derek Carr. Listen, they weren't going. The Raiders at some point, there needed to be a change. Right? So I will agree, though. I do feel good for Carr. He's a good guy. He's one of the nicer guys in the National Football League. And he was kind of the scapegoat and a fall guy. And it was more the way they did it. Right? I'm not going to feel sorry for them moving on. But the way that they hung him out to dry, they never let him play the last game. Mm-hmm. And they knew, too. You knew. And what a way to find out, basically, when you see in the gift shop, and he knew at the time, he pulled in and he saw his jerseys were on sale. And so were Jacobs. And Jacobs isn't there anymore. Like the Raiders don't hide it. Like they basically say, all right, mark down the jerseys because we're going to dump this guy.
Unreal.
The players see their jerseys like on marked down, and they're like, oh, yeah, I can see the writing on the wall, what's going on here. But it was McDaniels who was kind of an idiot and stuff. You know, I told a story the other day, like Aaron Rodgers hates San Francisco for not drafting him. At the time, Mike Nolan was the coach of San Francisco. His offensive coordinator was Mike McCarthy. And get this, Nolan was just a sheer defensive guy, right? So he entrusted McCarthy to everything. And McCarthy told him, Aaron Rodgers is a diva. You don't want him. We don't want him on this team. McCarthy takes the Green Bay job the next year and inherits Aaron Rodgers and wins the Super Bowl with him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. He didn't want him. He didn't want him on San Francisco. But for the record, they took Alex Smith. So it wasn't like they took a stiff, right? McCarthy said, I'm telling you, this Alex Smith guy's the real deal. Let's go with Alex Smith. And he said, Aaron's kind of he has a lot of baggage. And they already knew that. So San Francisco don't take him. But the guy that oversaw that, who was the quarterback guru on the team, ends up winning a Super Bowl with Rodgers. So, you know, these teams aren't always geniuses that people make them out to be with their picks. And are also not as dumb sometimes as people make them out to be to why something didn't happen. But let's talk about the Apple Cup, Loud, because you were sort of down on the Huskies. It was a big game for both programs. Washington. Think about it, guys. not only did the Wazoo get left out of the conference talks and all that type of stuff, their freaking offensive, their athletic director left to join Washington. Like even their AD split and joined the enemy. Washington didn't really want to play the game. They were like, we're not playing in Pullman. We'll do it in Seattle. Like Washington really looks down, and you're out there, Loud. They really look down at Wazoo. And you saw the coach of Washington State break down in tears about how important and critical and just what it meant to them. And listen, Washington came close. They came, you know what I mean? It was a bad play call at the end of the football game. They could have won the game, but props. And I know you like the Cougs in that game. So nice win for the Cougar program.
Yeah, this state where I live in Washington, basically you are either purple or you are silver and scarlet. I mean, it breaks down like that. There's, people are either Huskies or the Cougars. And so it was, and they have always been the little brother to the Huskies. So it is always a big deal for them when they win. And the Huskies sort of expect to win that game. And so, it's a big deal to Washington State whenever they win one of those games. A couple other college picks I was on last week. I've always been kind of shy in college football betting about giant spreads because my entry drug into sports betting was NFL. And so in the NFL, you don't see these 48, 56 spreads. So when I was a young sports bettor, I looked at those boards in the Vegas sports books and went, God, who the hell would lay 42 points? That's insane. Because I started in the NFL where you would never see a spread like that. Well, I was on Tennessee last week. I think they were almost 60 points. It was 59 or something insane. And they covered again. And I was on Ole Miss versus Wake Forest. They were minus 34.5, and they covered as well. So I've actually gotten more comfortable with big spreads in college football. And I'm going to be on a couple more again.
I'll hit this on the other side. Yeah, Tennessee are averaging 63 points a game so far this year.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama. And you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be successful, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play is there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The Twisted Tuesday continues. This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. Thanks to Andrew McKinnis for kicking with us earlier. We're kicking with Loud Esmond right now, talking college football. And you just talked about laying these big points, man. Some of these SEC teams have been absolutely ruthless. Ole Miss have been ruthless this year. Tennessee, this offense averaging nearly 64 points a game. So now, though, they're going to face a real defense. You got a classic situation here. You got Heupel's offense against Venables' defense. In the modern era, I don't think that defense wins anymore. Like the whole, well, defense wins championships. Yeah, sort of, but you better be able to score points to get to the championship, right? You want to have a better defense than the other team in a championship game, but you got to score to get there. Tennessee are just like scoring and killing teams. You know, and NC State aren't a joke either. I know they're not good, but this isn't the first, this isn't their first real test, really. They went on the road already. What do you think about this game in Norman, Oklahoma? It's the Sooners' first SEC game, actually. So you got that on top of it as well. The total is 57.5. That's the thing that catches my eye here, guys. You got one team that averages 64 points, and you're telling me that Oklahoma is not going to score on Tennessee either? I like the over in this game, Loud.
Well, look, Oklahoma's got a 3-0 record, but they haven't exactly been winning in a dominant fashion. Houston, that score was 16-12. And then against Tulane last week at 34-19. Tennessee's been just dominating, blowing people off the field. Two of them have been weak teams. I get it. But Tennessee just looks elite and unstoppable on offense. And Oklahoma, you think of Oklahoma as having these high-flying offenses, but they just don't this year. I just don't see how they're going to keep up with Tennessee scoring. And I like Tennessee -7 in this one.
Cam, what are you doing with Tennessee and Oklahoma?
I like Tennessee, too. I don't like to go against home dogs, but Tennessee, Gabe, they've just looked so crisp. I can't believe what they're doing on offense. They're blowing out teams. They're embarrassing teams. Oklahoma, as Loud said, I thought they're going to be a little bit better. Not really too impressed with the Sooners right now, but they are at home. But Gabe, I agree with you, though. Like, I think Oklahoma will be able to score on Tennessee's defense. I have a lean to the over, but I like Tennessee if it's a touchdown. Yeah, give me the Volunteers, please.
The Sooners' offense, Loud's a work in progress, right? They got a young quarterback in Jackson Arnold, and it's tough it's a lot like Michigan. I sort of agree with you. I know Michigan have a loss, but it's the same thing. The only reason they're winning really is because they have bigger guys and better athletes, right? Like against Arkansas State last week. All right, let's just hand it off 38 times in a row and we'll run for 400 yards. And they did, but you're not going to win games against elite teams doing this if you fall behind, like we saw them do against Texas. So it'll be interesting to see if they can run the football against the USC Trojans on Saturday. But another game that you're looking at here, you're going back. Are you going back to Mississippi?
Yeah, I've been on Ole Miss on a couple of giant spreads, and I'm going to be on a -34.5. They've got Georgia Southern coming into town. They've got an explosive offense. Okay, check. We always see that with Lane Kiffin's teams. But now, like I said, the last couple of weeks, they have a great dominating defense. And they've got a power running game that can close out games and score in the red zone. Georgia Southern has only faced one decent team, and that was Nevada. And Nevada just got run 27-0 by the Gophers last week. So I think Ole Miss is going to score 50, and I don't think Georgia Southern can get north of 14.
Yeah, when you're laying a big number, too, it's important that the coach is kind of a jerk. And Lane Kiffin's
You're so right. You're right.
Lane's a funny guy, but he won't take the pedal off the metal. Like, he will run the score up.
No, and that's the thing. It's not only can the team score that many points where you look at a big spread in college football, but will they? Like Notre Dame, I would never take a big point spread. And, of course, I would have been wrong last week. But I generally would never take a big point spread with Notre Dame because they generally just don't run up the score. It's just not part of their character. Whereas with Lane Kiffin and this coach in Tennessee, if they can score 100, they're going to score 100.
It was like Nick Saban. It was a great bet. He was around for so long. When Alabama were laying, like, put it this way, like, Saban didn't care. He wouldn't blow out non-conference opponents. He'd be like, you know what? You're being nice coming here to lose. I know the coach. I like him. But if he didn't like you, he would kill you.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama, and you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be successful, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play is there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, it's hard to believe how quickly time goes, not just on this show, but life itself, and especially football seasons. You know, there's this big, you know what, we're 30 days away from the Hall of Fame game. Then next thing you know, it's like, oh, man, you got to enter the contest. And then it's like, next thing you know, it's like, oh, wow, I can't believe, I'm seeing Halloween ads on TV now. And, you know, the season's moving on here. And historically, 0-2 is a kiss of death. There's a little bit more room right now, but it's only 10% of teams that make it to the playoffs starting 0-2. 0-3 are really just sort of done. But from a ATS perspective, guys, and we'll get into the total situation here, but this is in the past 10 years. This is from Bet Labs. In the past 10 years, 0-2 teams in week 3 are 52, 33, and 1 against the spread. 61% coverage rate. You get desperate teams, and then you combine that with the marketplace seeing these teams as 0-2 and not being very good, and it's sort of a perfect combination and storm. So 0-2 teams in play this week. The Giants are plus 6.5 at the Browns. The Titans -3 versus the Packers, which I think is insanity. Colts are -1 versus the Bears. Broncos +7 at Tampa. Panthers +5.5 at Vegas. Ravens -1 at Dallas. Rams +7.5 hosting San Francisco. Jags get 5.5 in Buffalo. And the Bengals are 7.5-point favorites against Washington. We have a doubleheader next Monday night. What do you think about these 0-2 teams and that trend, Loud? Are you buying into these 0-2 teams cashing any tickets this week?
The only one that I have any confidence in is the Ravens, and that is beholden to them actually figuring out that they have Derrick Henry on their team, and that maybe when they're near the goal line or need to close out a game, they should hand the ball to him. And I also don't understand why is there no RPO game with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson? That's what I thought. When they got him, I'm like, oh, Harbaugh's a smart coach. I see what he's doing. He's going to have Lamar and Derrick Henry in the backfield at the same time and then give them the choice. Is Lamar going to run it or is Derrick Henry going to run it based on, what does the defensive end and the defense do? Do they crash in or do they go wide? They go wide, you give it to Derrick Henry, they crash in, Lamar goes around the end. They're not doing that. For the life of me, I do not understand. They are in a perfect position to do it. Now, they just saw the Cowboys get put on skates in the running game all game long by the Saints. So if this is not the week where Harbaugh puts his foot down with the offensive coordinator and says, look, here's what we're doing. We're going to run the damn rock and we're going to play defense. And we're going to shorten the game and keep Dak Prescott off the field away from CeeDee Lamb. This is how we're going to win this game. We're going to win ugly. If they decide that they're going to let Lamar throw the ball 30 times, game after game after game, I have no confidence in them at all. But I do like the Ravens to get a win against the Cowboys. Not big, but ugly.
I agree with your take. I'm leaning Baltimore here, but I got 2 words for you why they're doing what they do. Todd Monken. And I've been talking about how bad this guy is for years. He was bad in Tampa Bay. He's ruining this offense right now. This goes back to the playoff game last year. They ran the ball 6 times. They ran the ball 6 times, against Kansas City Chiefs. So then what do we think? All right, well, they learned their lesson. They're going to give the ball to Henry a million times in the season opener. They didn't. Once again, they didn't. And then you see it over and over. So you just stated. And the big thing about the Saints blowing out the Cowboys this week, guys, was the offensive line. The Saints just murdered the Dallas Cowboy defenders. They pushed them back. You could see linemen were 15 yards down the field with Kamara. They just murdered them. So you figure Baltimore says, all right, let's just run the ball 50 times here, right down Dallas's throat, because Dallas are undersized. They're fast, but I don't know if Todd Monken's smart enough.
They're weak in the middle. Dallas is weak in the middle of the defense. They are weak in the middle of the defense. That's where you have to attack Dallas. And you don't want to be in passing situations. You want to run the ball at them because they got a bunch of elite pass rushers, but guys that don't really want to play the run. They want to get after the quarterback. Dallas is made to play with a lead. And if they don't get the lead, they can't play the kind of defense that they want. So, do the Ravens smarten up? Or is there something else going on? I mean, is Lamar Jackson saying, no, I'm a pocket passer, and this is the game I want to play? I don't know. But it makes what they're doing offensively makes no sense because of their personnel. Doesn't make any sense at all.
I think Monken can get fired, just point blank. I think it can legitimately happen where Harbaugh will have to make a choice. The pressure will be on. Listen, they lose this game. They're 0-3. And then he could pay the price, but I kind of believe the Ravens will find a way to win, Cam. Cowboys will be desperate, but like Loud said, I don't know. Baltimore, though, they never do what the logical thing is. They could just play smash mouth football, but I do lean Baltimore here. Do you like any of these 0-2 teams? As we stated, last 10 years, 0-2 teams, 61% coverage rate in week 3. It's sort of a buy low time for these teams right now. Do you trust any of these 0-2 teams, Cam, plus the points?
I trust a lot of them, actually, to cover, not to win. I actually, Gabe, this is going to be ugly. I lean Giants against the Browns. I think it's a good spot for them this week, and they've been horrible. We talked about a couple other teams there. I'm not sure about Carolina. I'm not allowed to take Carolina games anymore because I'm just horrible with that division, and that team has basically killed me. So, no. I like the Tennessee Titans. I know you think I'm insane, but I think it's a good spot for the Titans this week. Will Levis has killed them in the first 2 games. They've been good. They're at home. I think they catch the Packers napping this week. Those are ones that I'm looking at right now. I like Tennessee, and I like the New York Football Giants. Dallas, Baltimore, Gabe, know what their issue with the Ravens, too, is, guys? You guys know this. We watch all the snaps. Their offensive line is horrible. And Monken is brutal at his job. But the Ravens' offensive line, it's really bad. And they have to do something.
But it's Derrick Henry. He can be his own offensive line.
Yep.
If you give him the ball. So I still think it's running the ball is the play there.
Oh, for sure.
I got a bunch of unders I'm looking at. You got a bunch of teams, 10 teams in the NFL right now that have not covered an over so far this season. And so I decided to look at who those 10 teams were playing and see if I could find any that were playing matched up against each other. And there are some really interesting under opportunities. The Steelers and the Chargers, these are two of the best defenses in terms of, I don't know it's only 2 games, but the numbers do matter. Steelers allow 8.5 points per game, the Chargers 6.5. And then we all know, everybody knows the Steelers can't score, and Jim Harbaugh is running the ball like 2/3 of the time. And so that is a recipe for an under for me, but people are already moving that way because that went from 36 to 35.5 already. Another possibility is that Jaguars and Bills, it was 46 to open. The Jaguars play decent defense. They're allowing 19 points a game. That's exactly what the Bills are allowing. The Jags are only scoring 15 points a game. Now, the Bills score a lot, 32.5. But the Jaguars have a decent defense, and I think the Bills want to run the ball a lot now. And so, are they going to score that high? I don't know. I kind of like the under there. And I'm going to wait to see if these numbers move more because, you have the over-under in the Patriots-Jets, which is going to be a rock fight because the Patriots are allowing 16.5. The Jets are allowing 24.5. But the Patriots only score 18 and the Jets 21.5. And that number already moved from 37 to plus 39. So the public was early in hammering that, and they've caused the line to move a full 2 points. The Giants and the Browns both don't score much, and that's at 38.5 and hasn't moved. And then the Bears and the Colts, the Bears are scoring 18.5. The Colts are scoring 18.5. The Colts allowing 22.5. The Bears, even better, allowing only 18 per game. And that one is at 42.5 open, and now it's at 43.5.
Man, these are low numbers for the modern era, right?
Yeah.
The odds makers have caught up early here, but we'll wrap up loud on the other side. There's always that week where it just pops open and breaks, right? We see this in the UFLs in the world and XFLs.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama. And you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be successful, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play is there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Man, the Yankees just really smoking the ball tonight. 10-1 Yankees right now in the top of the 6th inning. So the Bronx Bombers just murdering the Seattle Mariners this evening. Other games going on right now. It's 5-0 for the Angels over the White Sox in the top of the 8th inning. And Houston and San Diego are tied at 2 in the top of the 8th inning as well. All right, we'll get Loud Esmond out of here. We'll let people know where they can find him. And just the last game to bring up here, sort of, one game that I do think you were talking about unders is the Sunday nighter, right? You get the Atlanta Falcon defense has looked really good this year, and we know the Chiefs defense is good, but we also saw Bijan Robinson come alive last night. We saw Kirk Cousins start to click on the last drive of this game. I think they do take some momentum into this game. Kansas City do lose Pacheco. You have an indoor Sunday nighter here. It's 46.5 right now. So basically both teams get into the mid-20s. I've noticed, Loud, that the point spread's down to 3.5. So it was 4.5 last night. Some early Atlanta leans here. That's one game that I sort of have my eye on for points. And I tell you, the Detroit-Arizona game should be a lot of fun, guys. High total, 52.5. But this Cardinal team, Kyler Murray was 5 for 5 with pass attempts, 20 or more yards through the air. The odds of doing that and completing 5 passes through the air of 20 or more yards, 3%. Kyler Murray did it. Like I said, he's dialed in right now, this offense. That should be a fun game. But last one there, what do you think, Loud, of that Chiefs and Falcon game right now?
That's not on my list of unders. I'll tell you that much. And my team that is going to be a lock, I believe, to go 0-3 is the Rams. They just got too many injuries. They're just too beat up. And the 49ers, they don't lose much under this coach more than one game in a row. I forget exactly what the number is, but he rarely loses back-to-back games, kind of like Belichick was in that way. So that's my last couple of contributions here tonight for thinking about this coming up weekend. You can find a package of mine. I'll put up a package of 3 or 4 picks by Friday afternoon that you can get over from me over at Winners and Winers. That's where you can find all my stuff, winnersandwiners.com, and at the Winners and Winers YouTube page.
Great stuff, Loud. Good luck this weekend. Always a pleasure, man. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
See you next week.
There's a Loud Esmond with us tonight on the Twisted Tuesday. So as I stated, this baseball game has been blown open, and we were going over some of these NHL numbers as the season's rapidly approaching right now. Starting to take a look at some of these futures, and there's a lot of different odds you can look at and different angles. To make the playoffs is obviously a popular one, Cam, and the Buffalo Sabres are plus 165 to make the playoffs this year. And, if you look at this, you look at like Buffalo, Ottawa, are one of these teams ever going to break through? And Ottawa are plus 110 to make the playoffs. Yes. No is minus 140. They're getting a lot of love because they got Allmark between the pipes. They got the goalie from Boston now. So people believe, all right, Ottawa's ready for that step. But it's very hard for these teams to make the playoffs. They're in tough divisions.
Great call, Morency. The Eastern Conference, too. The Devils are going to be a hell of a lot better. The Rangers, they always are there. That's the whole thing. Yeah, I know the Washington is a little bit long at the tooth, but they still got good players. Pittsburgh, actually, I like what the Penguins have done. Surprisingly, I give Dubas a little bit of credit. They signed Crosby and they got some weapons there. But I'm going to say this: out of those one team, I always have a soft spot in my heart for Buffalo. No, I know. I'm just saying they're going to be all right. But out of Buffalo and Ottawa, I like Ottawa a lot more. I want Buffalo to do well, but Allmark's a great goaltender. Ottawa's got Tim Stützle, Tkachuk. They have a lot more goal scorers on that. Buffalo's not deep enough, but Ottawa, if they get any type of goaltending, the one thing is they have better offense than Buffalo, Gabe. So I do think Ottawa will do a lot better. I think their points, this is finally the year the Senators break through. I like their over points.
Actually, I've looked at the division numbers. There's a couple of things that catch my eye, and there's a couple of point totals that catch my eye. And I want to take a look at the San Jose Sharks. And last year, the San Jose Sharks were one of the worst teams. They were similar to sort of like the White Sox. Like they were getting lit up early at a historic pace. But they tightened up as the season went on. They ended up with 47 points when it was all said and done. And you look at their point total this year, it's 63.5. And I think San Jose are ready to sort of start to get a little bit better right now. But that's a massive jump right there. To go from 47 points to 64 points, it's essentially like another 8 wins. And I think it's asking a little bit too much for the San Jose Sharks. Like I said, I'm looking at this team. I think the Sharks will be good in like 2 years, 3 years from now. And for people who don't realize this too, the Celebrini kid, his father is like, and then you bring in the kid Will Smith, who's a really good player. They got him. They're going to be good in a couple of years, Cam. It's going to end. Their Western Conference is so tough. It's going to take a couple of years for them. But the Sharks have been so bad, they're accumulating a ton of draft picks and really good players. The only thing is in the NHL, it takes like players like 4 or 5 years to get good. That's the problem.
You're right. It's too many points, Gabe, but I love them in a couple of years. They also pick up Askarov, the top goalie prospect in a trade with Nashville. It's too many points. We had them to win be the worst team last year, and we hit it. I agree.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about your freshman year at Alabama and even the redshirt year that got you ready to perform at the highest level.
You had to learn a lot about humility, about being patient to play at Alabama, and you still knew that you're going to have a shot to win a championship every year. And so that's the line. And so I think like that's what's really missing with today's football. You got NIL, you got social media.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Everyone had him rookie of the year, offensive player of the year. Bears are going to the Super Bowl. Eberflus coach of the year. He was terrible.
If he's going to be a success, he's got to play within structure as much as possible. I get it. If the pocket breaks down, throw off the platform. That's fine. But within structure, when the play is there to be made, you need to make it, and he didn't do that.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
This would have been a bet that I would have lost big on in terms of betting on Trevor Lawrence thus far. Because, Vinny, I thought he was an absolute rock-solid, can't-miss first overall pick.
They're underachieving a bit. I mean, I don't think this is the best adjustment team with Doug Peterson. He's not the best adjuster. If everything's kind of falling into place and everyone's executing well and he can just do what they want to do.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. So we're going to be on Thursday night on SiriusXM channel 159 and on YouTube for the football game, the Patriots and the Jets. Not the most glamorous game. Let's just call it out for what it is. But you've got Aaron Rodgers. The Patriots have played better football than anybody expected them to this year. You could say they're 2-0 against the spread, depending on if you got the 3.5 or not. I did not. I ended up getting the push. But thanks to Loud Esmond for kicking it with us. Looking at the updated point spreads right now, it's 6 points and 38.5 for Thursday Night Football. Don't forget, this is the New York Jets' third game in 11 days. So even though the Jets are at home here, it's a bad scheduling spot for them, right? And you add up the miles already. They go from New Jersey, from Newark to San Francisco to Santa Clara, back to New Jersey, to Nashville, back to New Jersey. Meanwhile, the Patriots went to Cincinnati, went back home to Foxborough, and take a 50-minute charter flight to New Jersey now, right? So, and another thing, the Jets have been complaining about it too. Anytime teams like are talking about it, it's kind of in their heads a little bit. So something to keep your eye on there. The Bears are getting 1 point now in Indianapolis. The Broncos get 6.5 against the Buccaneers. The Packers at the Titans, and I'm going to be on the Packers here, Cam. I just can't. You can't. To me, Will Levis just can't be a favorite in an NFL football game. The only thing he should be a favorite is if he's going to turn a football over. Yeah. Like I'll bet that.
Or over on mayonnaise consumption. I just think it's a really weird line, Gabe. Like, you know what I mean? It's 3, and like I'm just like, it's, to me, this game is Trap City. Tennessee hasn't been that bad, but you're right. That's the whole thing. I could be winning this game, and then you'll throw a pick six. It's something you have to worry about, and you don't want to. I just really think Tennessee has been better than the record indicates, and I like them this week. Not a lot of people will.
I'll tell you one. Here's an interesting game. The Minnesota Vikings are 2-0 on the season. The Houston Texans are 2-0. Yeah, the Texans are the ones kind of in a bad spot here, coming off of Sunday Night Football, going on the road to Minnesota. And if you look at Minnesota's wins, like honestly, just point blank, Minnesota have looked better this year than Houston have. Like if you look, Houston got all they can handle from the Indianapolis Colts, who are just a mediocre football team. And the Houston Texans had a hard time putting away the Chicago Bears with a rookie quarterback on Sunday night. Minnesota Vikings went into MetLife Stadium and just absolutely drilled the New York Giants. The San Francisco 49er game last weekend, the Vikings punched them in the mouth. Yep. Well, that was the Vikings were great last week. The Vikings are in a zone right now, and I think this is a dangerous game. I think the odds makers are kind of aware it's only 2.5, but I actually lean with the Minnesota Vikings in that game. Get the Philadelphia Eagles on the road in New Orleans, and the Saints are going to have a lot to prove here as 2.5-point favorites. The Eagles in a bad spot off of Monday Night Football. Andy Dalton gets the start for the Carolina Panthers this week against the Raiders, and the spread comes down to 5.5. Okay, Carolina is still a terrible team. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They're bad all around. Like, their defense is terrible.
Their offense is even worse. Just watching this team play is disgusting. Yeah, I can't take it, even at 5.5, Gabe. Maybe they cover this week with the Red Rocket, but no. And the fact that every week the Carolina spread's gone down, it's like people are betting them like idiots like me, and and you're losing money betting this team. I've had enough, so it's I'm going to pass.
There's been big movement on this Miami Dolphins-Seattle game. It's interesting, too, because Tua's not playing, obviously. They put Tua on injured reserve, so Tua's out for like 6 weeks minimum or whatever it is. And the Dolphins, so people are buying in, the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson, right? They've had time to prepare for this game. They're going to be all in, right? Like, and all that. So it's down to 4.5 right now. Baltimore are -1.5 on the road. Detroit were 3.5 in Arizona. Here's another. This is, to me, one of the funner games of the week. I think Arizona, like in Detroit, aren't that all that far off. And, once the pressure's on, Cam, and you're a favorite, it's different when you're the little underdog upstart story. Now the Detroit Lions are supposed to win. It's hard to win when you're supposed to win. And they're finding that out right now, especially when you're favorites in games. So now they got to not only win games, but they got to cover point spreads too, right? Like they weren't covering that spread last week. They were never in it.
They played horribly against the Rams, and the Bucs beat them outright. Let's call it out for what it is. You're right, Gabe. They've been a big disappointment so far.
Cardinals getting 3 points. One more picks tomorrow night. Other than that, you're on your own. Later.